Hi, good morning everyone. Thank you all for coming to this tips webinar about Outlook today. Appreciate you all coming on a Friday, so thank you very much. We've got quite a few people attending today, which is always a good thing. I'm just going to talk you through a little bit about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it over the morning for the next half an hour, and then we'll get cracking and have a look at the tips that you're all here for. So hopefully you've all got your sound on and you can hear me. You can ask questions during this session. There should be a chat window, on your webinar software that you can just type in there a question. Now, at the moment, I've got 25 people in here, so if I get lots of questions, I'll try my best to answer them as they come in, but if I struggle, I might have to come back to you after the session with some kind of an email. And I'll send all of the answers to everyone as well, because it might be relevant to everyone else in the session if there's a question asked that I can't answer during the session. After the session, don't worry about trying to make notes as you go along, because it's better if you just try and take it in and see what I'm talking about first of all, because I will send you a cheat sheet. So I'm going to send you like a one-page Word document sort of going through the rough idea of what I've talked about, and I'll also send you a recording of this webinar. So I'm recording everything I'm talking about right now. That's going to be sent to you via a YouTube link, and you can watch that as many times as you want. Also, one other little thing to mention, if you see this link at the bottom here, what this is a tips website that we've set up, and this has tips about Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint. It also has on there any upcoming webinars that we've got going. So I'll continue to email you, but if you look at this website, make a note of it, and I'll send you a link to this after as well. The future webinars will be on there. Now, just a tiny little plug on that matter. The next webinar, which is going to be delivered in October, is going to be a colleague of mine, and is going to show you something called Power Query, which is a really cool new add-in to Excel, and it's all about cleaning data and making data work a little bit better for you. Right, okay, so let's get on to what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to effectively look at some, they're not exactly majorly advanced tips, but usually some of the best things are in actual fact the simplest. So what we're going to have a little bit of a look at is I'm going to show you some tips around sending emails. Okay, so things like delaying delivery, we're going to look at standard texting emails, all sorts of things along those lines. Then we're going to have a look at organizing your inbox. So I'm going to show you a few ways of, shall we say, flagging emails and sort of searching emails as well. And then after that, we're going to have a look at some tricks with your calendar. And I'm also going to show you a couple of little miscellaneous shortcuts along those lines as well. Now, I'm going to be really cheeky, little bit of a shameless plug as I put it all of the start of these webinars, just to let you know, if you like what you see here today, we can come and do this at your site. So we bring all the equipment with us, we can do a bespoke training session for you on whatever you want. So if you're interested, do get in touch. You can find us on Trustpilot, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube as well if you want to see a bit more about us. We can help you with all of these applications, so Access, Excel, Outlook, Word, all of them up there I can help you with. Right, I'm gonna shut up now, plug in. Let's get on and actually have a look at some stuff to help you with Outlook. Right, so let me just come out of my PowerPoint. I'm just going to get an Outlook window up so we can have a look at this together. So first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to have a look at some sending email tips. Now, some of this may be sucking eggs, but hopefully some of this will be useful and new to you. So when I'm sending an email, right, really simple little trick this. So let's say I'm typing an email to someone about something, and I'm not exactly a touch typer, and I don't know if you can see that, but I've left my caps lock on. Very annoying thing, you end up leaving your caps lock on and you've got to effectively retype that text. Well, very, very simple little shortcut is if you drag over the text like so, then on your keyboard hold the shift key down and you press F3, and what it then does, can you see here, shift and F3, can you see, goes through all of the different permutations of case that you might want to go for. Now, rather than having to retype it, it will just change it for you. This is also in, if we go to, can you see just the format text tab here while we're in an email? This one here, like a big A, little a, pop it down, all of the options are in there as well, and you can change it using that menu option. Now, incidentally, pretty much quite a few tips that I'm going to show you here around text. They also work in Word as well, because Outlook is in part based on Word for generating the emails. One of a very simple little trick, if you watch here, if while you're writing an email you think, well, using the same language here, I'm sounding very samey, I don't sort of vary what I'm saying. If I right click on a word here, can you see just down in the menu towards the bottom, I've got one called synonyms. Now synonyms, can you see that is giving me alternative ways of saying the same word. So, let's say I don't want to say something, I would rather say somewhat or approximately, roughly. Now, you still have to kind of understand how that's going to fit into your sentence, but, rather than you having to sort of, spend too much time thinking about how you're going to change it, well, you can just pick an option. It's not perfect, but it gives you another way of, how you want to describe something, especially if your vocabulary, like mine, can, be a little bit sparse, shall we say. Okay, so a couple of little tricks there around when you're typing the email. So Shift and F3 for changing case, and you can right click synonyms, can you see, to pick an alternative word for something. Right, another one. I use this all of the time. It is very, very good, this. Quite a lot of the time when you're doing emails, there's a lot of repetition. So what I mean by this, I'll get an email from someone and perhaps there's a new bit of work coming in, or they need help with something, and I'm sending a fairly standard, not necessarily canned response, but it's a similar kind of response to a lot of different people. Well, rather than me having to retype that every single time, what I can use is something called quick parts. Now, quick parts are a way of saving standard text so that you can then reuse that text. So if you look here, what I do, I'm going to click into the body of my email. I'm going to go to the Insert tab at the top just here. Now in Insert, I've got an option here called Quick Parts. Now before the session, I've already populated this for you. Okay, so you can see an example, but I'll show you how to add something into this. So I pop Quick Parts down. And can you see I've got one there that says standard text example, and there's some text with some bullet points in there. So look, this is my standard response that I want to send to people. So I click onto this, and can you see it drops in the text that I want to send. So, look, hi, this is an example of a quick part, and I've got some bullet points. I've also, can you see, formatted some text, because, this is not just text, this is also any formatting, if there are any images as well, and you can populate these quick parts with as many different things as you want. Now the really good thing about this is it's so easy to do. It's one of those things that people don't know about because Microsoft are very good at hiding things away. So it's good, but it's not very obvious. So let's say this is, so I'm just going to type some text in here. This is my standard text, to send to various people. You can see it's been a long week. I'm not very inventive with what I'm typing, but hey, it's a Friday. So look, there's the text that I want to repeat. So what I do, I drag over the text, and I'm just going for one little sentence, but this could be a whole waffle of text that you want to send to other people. So we drag over like that. We go to Insert at the top. And then can you see here, Quick Parts, pop that one down. And can you see here, that's what I've already done so far, but I want to program this into this list. So I go to Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery just here. Now it will pop a new message up here, so create a new building block. Now just to give you a little bit of a background, building blocks are effectively the container that quick parts go into. Building blocks are a much larger area of Outlook and also Word. It's effectively like an area for all standard bits of stuff. I know I'm being really technical here, but that's kind of the idea of it. So quick part is a building block, and this is how you're programming it in. So other than the bit at the top where it says name, leave the rest of it as it is. This is just configurative stuff. But whatever you put in that name box, if I just close this and show you again, that is what's going to appear. Can you see above the quick part? So can you see standard text example for one I did previously? So look, I'm going to drag over this, quick parts, save selection to quick part gallery, and I'm going to call this one, I don't know, Friday morning email to staff, or whatever you might want to go for, standard response to this, or thank you very much customer for the other. So once I'm ready, I'm going to click OK. So look, a little bit of imagination. Let's just think I've not put that in. I'm starting a new email and I'm typing away, if I could type, that is, blah blah blah, and I think I've got to put my standard bit of text in. So I go insert, and then I go to quick parts. Can you see Friday morning email to staff, or whatever you want to call it? Click. Can you see that drops the text in there? And then if I decide I'm typing a bit more, I want to put the other bit of quick part in, well, look, insert, quick part. Can you see standard text example? Can you see that? I'll drop in there. And look, you can change any of this. You can mess around with it. It's as if you've typed it manually. It's just you've dropped it in there and then, and you've not had to mess around reinventing the wheel every single time. And it saves you from having to do a copy and paste job from sent items, which eliminates a lot of potential problems in my opinion. So really good for standard sort of text. Now just to make you aware, I'm just going to go and open Word. Look, in Word, if I go to insert and then quick parts, it's exactly the same. So can you see save selection to quick part gallery? So if I had some standard text here, quick part, save selection to quick part gallery, can you see exactly the same screen? Click OK. So now in Word, can you see there is a quick part the same as Outlook? So this is a real buy one get one free option here, because once you understand this in Outlook, it's the same in Word. Okay, so you can have standard text in Word, standard text in Outlook as well. Do be aware though, if you put it into Word, it doesn't go into Outlook, and if you put it into Outlook, it doesn't go into Word. They are completely separate entities when it comes to these quick parts. Okay, so really good for sort of standardizing how you're replying and sending information to people. Right, now here's a sneaky one, right? And you've got to be careful with this one, and you'll see why in a moment when I explain what it is. So I sometimes need to send emails in the future. So I get an email from someone, say on a Monday, and I need to send them an email in a week or two's time. Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, I've got a memory like a cheese grater, so I would like to be able to send it in 2 weeks' time, but I want to kind of set it up right now. And you have got to be careful with this that I'm going to show you now, because there are a couple of little problems with it, but it can be very good. So let's say this is the email that I'm going to send. So let's just get rid of that. Hi, how are you? Right, and I'm going to send it. I'll just put it on to myself. Right, so this is my email that I'm going to send, and I want it to send, in a week or two's time. So let's put, how are you? Right, so what I do, some people would say this is a draft. I mean, that's one technique. But if I go to, in the email, the tab here called options, very, very subtly hidden away, there's a button here called delay delivery. Now, delay delivery, what this does, admittedly, Microsoft could have spent 10 pence more making this a little bit easier. The screen has more information on than we need. The bit we're interested in is, can you see this line here? Do not deliver before date and time. So by clicking onto this, it opens a screen with way more options than we need, but the bit we want to look at is this line here. What it does, and it's quite clever, it defaults to today's date, so we're the 23rd of the 9th, 2016, but it puts it as 5 p.m. So what this is going to do, if I leave it as that, so I click close, if I now hit send, what's going to happen is, can you see my outbox says in square brackets 1? So there's my email. So what will happen to this email is it will sit in my outbox until 5 p.m. on the 23rd of the 9th, 2016. And if I go back into my email, go back to options, delay delivery again, I could if I wanted to. Remember I said I want 2 weeks in advance, so I'm going to go, 2 weeks in advance. Let's send it on the Thursday. And I'm going to say 12:30ish. Okay? Click close. Once I'm ready, that will sit in the outbox until that date. Now, a couple of things you need to be very careful about with this particular little technique is, number one, you need to have Outlook open, sending and receiving around or after that date and time for this email to go. This is not something that you can use. So, you're off to, somewhere sunny, sit on a beach for 2 weeks and you want to queue up a load of emails to go while you're gone. Unfortunately, it won't send because it is a client side thing. So what I mean by that is it's Outlook on your computer which actually triggers this to send. So your copy of Outlook needs to be open. So you can't just set it, forget it, not have your computer open. So you need to have it open for it to send. So that's the first thing. Next thing is if you open your computer at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you scheduled it to send at 12:30, well, again, based on that same problem, it's going to send at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when it's doing a send and receive, as long as it's after the time that you've set for the delay. The other thing you've got to watch out for, and this is you need to do a little bit of testing, and hence why I said sneaky at the start of telling you this tip. When you're sending the email to someone that's external to your organization, i.e. not through internal Exchange emails, so let's say you work for acme.com and you're sending it to someone outside of acme.com, well, they will see the date and time that the email left your outbox. If you're sending the email to someone inside your company, so to someone else at acme.com, dependent on the settings of your Exchange server or the version, I believe it sometimes will show the date and time that you actually sent the email originally, which is 2 weeks ago, effectively. So the date that you set it to go, not the date it was delayed to. So people can see when you actually sent the email rather than the date and time that you delayed it to be sent to. So look, it is a bit sneaky, but sometimes you have to manage your inbox and your emails a little bit. Just be a bit careful when this is internal emails and perhaps have a little bit of a test, but it's a very valid thing being able to delay emails for whatever purpose so you don't miss out on things. So delay delivery, it's just in the options, delay delivery just here. Yeah, you pick your date, you pick your time, and away you go, and it will sit in your outbox until that date and time. Okay, so there's just a couple of things to help you with sending emails. Right, so organizing our inbox. Now, look, I'm not here to tell you the right and wrong way to organize yourself. I'm just going to show you a few little tricks in Outlook that you can use. And what you tend to find with Outlook is there's a lot of different ways of doing the same thing in Outlook. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways that I would use. So I've got some dummy emails here that we are going to potentially look to organize. Oh, as well, just to let you know, I can see I've got a couple of questions in the question list. So let me just finish this thing that I'm showing you now, and then I'll try and answer some of those questions. Okay, so I'm not ignoring you. I just sort of didn't see it. I was in a bit of a flow. So let me just show you one thing about organizing the inbox, and I'll go back to the questions. So here we go. We've got our inbox. One thing that I find really, really useful is I get all these emails in, and over the course of the day, they get pushed down and you forget stuff. Very, very simple thing. Against any one of these emails, if I click on this little picture of flag just here, what it does, can you see it puts a little flag next to that email? What it also does, in this bar on the right, which is the to-do bar, can you see it flags it up there and puts it into that list for me? If I click onto there, can you see again it adds it to the list for me, adds it to the list for me. So this is a really good way of kind of not forgetting stuff. You can then, once you've done, can you see click it and it gives you a tick. So this can be a really useful thing just to mark the fact you've done something. Even if you don't flag it to remember, Can you see just by doing that it ticks it? So, you know, you've done that. So almost your inbox could become a to-do list. Tick, tick, tick. I've done this. I've done the other. And can you see when I tick it again, it removes it out of this list? Now, another little clever feature of this is at the top of your inbox, you've got the ability to search for it. So this is really good. If I type in, for instance, able for Abel, can you see all of the Abel come up? What you also get, which most people miss here, is once I click onto here, can you see at the top in the search tools box, these are all ways of filtering your inbox. So if I click onto the flagged item, can you see it shows only things that I've actually flagged up. So if I flagged 30 or 40 things, and I'm just going to click close search, you know, all the different things that I'm expecting to do, they appear in this list here. But if I click into, can you see search inbox, and then click flagged, can you see it will show everything that you have flagged so you don't have to forget. You can go back and deal with them. And then again, once they're done, tick that, takes it out of the list. It will no longer be flagged. Right, so look, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a little bit of a look at some questions. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's see if I can answer some of these. There are a few questions coming through, so I maybe might not be able to answer every single question, but all the ones I kind of will do, and any that I miss, I'll come back to you, you know, via email. So bear with me 1 second. Right, so David Coleman's asked if you put a building block in Outlook, will it also be available in Word? So yeah, that was what I was saying before. If you put it in Outlook, it's in Outlook. If you put it in Word, it's in Word. The two don't cross paths. But as it's a little bit of a bodge job, but you could actually copy and paste, you know, information from Word to Outlook and save separate quick parts. I mean, I suppose they can't do everything for everyone, but it does kind of make sense that you'd have different things for emails and different things for, you know, documents, etc. Right, so I've got Zach Dimes. Is there a specific reason you would use this rather than setting up a new signature? So again, I'm assuming this is about quick parts. Hey, quick parts is quite popular, isn't it? So Zach, you could set up a signature. The only thing with a signature versus a quick part is when you use a signature, it's only going to add in one thing into the email. Whereas with the quick part, it's a little bit better for like different phrases, because I can go, I want that in there, and I also want that in there, and I'm using the same things, but can you see I can keep on adding into it? So rather than it just being one thing, we can add multiple items into the email. So it's more like a phrase bank rather than it being you know, just one standard bit of text for the whole email. So you can break your standard bits of text up into lots of separate bits that then you can drop into the email in different parts. So hope that answers your question there. If anyone's got any more questions, just type away in the chat window or the questions window, and I'll try my best to answer them. But right, moving on, let's have a look at the next thing. So one last thing about organizing the inbox, and then I'm going to show you a few little calendar tips and tricks. And again, don't forget, I'm going to send you a cheat sheet, and I'm also going to send you a video of this as well, so you can re-watch this whenever you want. Right, so search folders. This is a very common thing I see people do. So I'm going to show you what I see a lot of people do in Outlook. They'll create a new folder, maybe call it, I don't know, this stuff or whatever you want to you know, go for, and they'll have a folder in their you know, list of folders, and you see people come along and physically moving things from one folder to the other to organize themselves. So it effectively would take it out of the inbox, put it into that folder, and it takes it away. Now that's good, right? But there's a lot of effort in that. There is something called rules, and you can get Outlook to do this for you automatically, and it will move the files for you. Now, instead of that, what you've got is you've got something called search folders. Now, search folders, and I'm just going to get rid of that folder that I added in. Search folders are kind of a halfway house between you creating a folder and you search in your inbox, and it's very, very clever. So if I go to my inbox here, I've got a lot of emails from this company called Able Owl, right? Now, these are actually a competitor of ours. They do Excel training, but they have a really, really good Excel tips email. So, you know, I would recommend anyone signing up to their tips email because it is really good. But look, here's a load of emails that I've had from them, and I want to be able to bring a list of their emails back, right? So look, if I go to search folder, click onto new search folder, what it does here is it pops this up. Now these are all different ways of slicing and dicing how you want to pick information out of your inbox. Now the difference between a search folder and an actual folder is a search folder is effectively virtual, so you're not going to move anything, you're just going to display it, okay? And what that means is all of the stuff stays in the inbox, but you've got a really quick way of accessing those bits. So, and it's also automated once you set it up. So look, if I go to mail from and to specific people, and there's all sorts of different things like flagged, and you know, if you want to get a bit more complicated, create your own custom search folder where you could base it on something in the subject line, who it's from, has it been flagged, all this kind of stuff. But I'm going to go for mail from and to a specific person, click OK. Right, oh wait there, 1 second, let me just get rid of that. I managed to make that look harder than it is. So look, I'm just going to go back into my search folder. Sorry about this, bear with me folks, my Outlook seems to be going a bit crazy. Just 1 second, let me just restart it. Gotta love technology. So look here, search folder, new search folder. So what I do, I'm going to go to mail to and from a specific person. What I do, can you see just here, show mail sent to and from. Now, if you've got addresses, you can pick your address, you know, your email address out of here. But what I'm going to do here is, can you see just this one? I'm going to go down to this. I'm going to type Able Owl, right? So that's part of the email address, and I'm going to click OK, like so. Now, once I'm ready, click OK. What it then does, can you see here, search folders, I've got one called Able Owl, and can you see these are all of the emails from Able Owl. So what it's doing is it's picking all of those emails from Able Owl and it's displaying them in here. So they're all still left together, lumped in your inbox, but you've got a separate search folder here just for Able Owl. Now the cool thing about this is once you get a new email from Able Owl or whoever, it will just stack up into this list for you automatically. There's no manual copy and paste of various items into this folder. It will just automatically do this for you. So it's a much quicker way of managing it. And you can have as many of these search folders as you like. And there's quite complex rules that you can apply. You can put lots of different filters on there. So again, it's not necessarily better than manually copying and pasting things between folders, but this is just another tool in the box. Yeah, I'm not saying one way's right or one way's wrong. It's just finding what's right for you, really. Okay, so look, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on and show you a few calendar and organization tricks. So first one to show you, and this one is a doddle, but this is so good. Yeah, once you know it's dead simple trick. I want to create a new calendar item or maybe a new contact or a new task, and it's based on an email, right? So look, I've got an email from Thomas Cook, book a new holiday, get some money off. So yeah, I'll have that. I want to save a, you know, maybe a contact or a calendar item. So look what we do, click, drag, and we go over the thing we want to create. So if I want a calendar item, I drag over that. If I want a contact, I drag over that. If I want a task, I drag over that. So I'm going to let go on my calendar item, and what it then does, sometimes it flashes behind Outlook and you have to bring it back, but can you see it's generated a calendar item based on the subject line of the email? But this is quite clever. It's taken the body of the email and put it into the body of the calendar item. So, you know, let's say this is an email from someone asking you a question, or you've got a problem or something you need to deal with. Bang the email over the calendar. It's going to put the email that the thing you've got to do is about in there, and then you can, you know, set your date, set your time if you want to invite people, you know, all this kind of thing, and you don't have to do a manual copy and paste, just drag and drop. This also works if I show you here. Let's grab instead of that, let's go for Able Owl. I'm going to drag that email there and I'm going to go over contact. Now, I think this is probably more powerful actually. It puts the name of the person. I mean, this is just the name they've set up against their Outlook profile at the other end, but it'd be like John Smith or Bob, you know, whatever. Can you see here email address, display as, and then you can populate phone numbers, etc. But really cleverly, it's put the email in the notes. So let's say this was a first point of contact for this person. Well, you've got it against that person in the notes of the email. Okay, so really simple thing, drag and drop over any one of these and it'll create a calendar, a contact, or a task. I'll also come back, there are some more questions. I'm just going to finish what I'm talking to you about and then we'll have a look at some questions in a moment. Another thing, if I just go into my calendar, so see here, this is a bit of a dummy calendar that I've set up for this. So here's my telephone call with Bob after the, after this webinar, and I've got to do some work later on. If I go to the month view, or let's go for the week view actually. I'm just going to go to next week. Can you see I've got a full week of training there? So like different courses that I'm delivering. Quite a lot of people, when they want to do a repetition of an event or an appointment in Outlook, they will use recurrences, which is a really good way, but it can be a little bit complicated to do. Well, look, watch this. Very quick and simple way of creating a copy of an event. Now, look, I don't work Saturdays. I'm off doing things. I don't want you to think this, that I do love Excel, but I'm not that sad. But can you see here? Click onto the event, hold my control key down, click with my mouse, drag the event, and then let go. So sometimes you just want to create a copy of an event, carbon copy, and you don't want the hassle of setting up a recurring every day for 5 days and the mess on of that. And this is quite good in a month view as well. So look, someone else wants another Excel course down here. So look, click on month view. That's the item I want to copy. Hold my control key down, drag with my mouse to where I want it to go, let go of my mouse, let go of my control key. And can you see it allows you then to create a complete carbon copy of the event wherever you go. And the cool thing about this is some of these patterns that I'm going for would be an absolute nightmare to do with recurrences, but quick and easy, bish bash bosh, and you can create a copy of it. So you can also do this without holding the control key down. Think of without the control key down as being cut and paste because it moves it, but with the control key, can you see it copies and pastes the event to various bits. Okay, so really simple thing. Another one, and this is mega simple, but it's so easy to miss. Let's say you're in your emails, but you want to see your calendar at the same time. Right click on your calendar, open in new window, and can you see it just opens your calendar up again? So I've got my emails and my calendar. If you want to see tasks at the same time, right click, open in new window, can you see it opens my tasks, and they're all the things that I flagged in my inbox. So this, I mean, I can't show you this on the webinar because I mean, I don't know how to make the webinar software show you, so let's be honest there. But if you've got multiple screens, this means you could have your emails on one, your calendar on another. If you're one of these crazy people who've got 3 or 4 screens, tasks, emails, calendar, all spread out over your desk, and it just makes life a lot easier. So look, just right click on what you want to go for, open a new window, and then away you go. Okay, you can see it multiple times. Okay, one very last thing, and I must admit I kind of found this by accident. Okay, on your keyboard, if I press Control Shift and N, what it does, now I don't want to say post-it, it's sticky note. Can you see it's like a little gummed note that you can add in. So look, I'm going to put in a don't forget to eat your cake. Okay, so anyone who's been on a course knows all I talk about is food, so there's the proof. So look, post-it note, type whatever you want in there, you click away, it does disappear, but if you go down to the bottom here, you've got notes just here. Can you see there? There's your note. So it's just a really simple way of just capturing something, pretty much anywhere you are in Outlook. Control Shift and N, whatever you want to go for. I don't know, remember, I don't know, bane of my life this, put the bins out. Yeah, so just something a bit informal you want to keep track of, or it could be ideas, whatever you want to go for. If I then go to notes, can you see there, put the bins out, don't forget to eat your cake. Happy days. So just a really good way of keeping some, little thoughts, information that you don't want to lose. Right, okay. So look, they're the bits I want to show you, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a quick look through some questions. I know I've waffled on a little bit and we're running sort of 5 minutes late, so I appreciate your patience. Let me just have a quick look at these questions that we've got. I think I can see a few people have answered their own questions as they've gone along. What we got? Bear with me. Bit off topic information. Right, okay. So look, there's people are asking questions about what we're going to run on future webinars. Just to answer that, after this webinar, you're going to be popped up with a feedback form. We're interested in your comments, how we can improve, but one of the important questions in there is, we're going to do future webinars, and I have got one planned which I'll talk to you about in a moment in a bit more detail, but there's a box there asking you what you want us to cover. So the reason why we've done this Outlook email is because people asked on a previous webinar, can you do an Outlook webinar? So, make sure you fill that form in and put in there what you'd like to cover. I can't promise that we'll cover exactly everything everyone wants to cover, but basically I'll take a little bit of a straw poll of that, and whichever is being asked the most, that's what we'll put in the next webinar. There are a couple of other questions in here which are a little bit more specific, and especially one from Alison Reed here, and I think I'll get in touch with you via email and ask for a bit of clarification on that. So look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap up here. I'm going to send a couple of emails out to some of these specific questions. If I haven't quite hit the mark with some of the questions people have asked, feel free to get in touch. I will be sending the recording of this out with the cheat sheet. Do keep in mind we've got another webinar scheduled for, I think it's the 5th or the 4th of October, but I'll send you details of that. That's for something called Power Query, which is an Excel add-in. Really good. If you like pivot tables and you have a lot of issues around sort of cleaning data, turn up to that. It honestly is one of the best things that we've seen in recent times, and it's free, part of Excel, and not a lot of people know about that. And our colleague Martin, who's a bit of a ninja with it, will talk you through that. So really worthwhile thing to come to. I'll come back to all the ones that I've missed via email. Really appreciate you all attending. Thank you very much. Have a really good weekend, and hopefully it's sunny where you are, and you get out and enjoy the sun. Okay, thank you very much. Take care, everyone.